This episode is supported by Battlefront.com.
Progress comes to a world of magic as science and the arcane combine to make marvels. Meet steampunk inventors and orc mystics at the Volsun Hub on beastsofwar.com. It's time for 28mm World War II action. Will you recreate history or reshape it your way? On the Bolt Action Hub at beastsofwar.com.
Good morning and welcome to The Weekender, your gaming highlight of the entire week. I know that you are sitting there with a cup of tea going, oh, thank God for The Weekender. I'm saying the same. I'm saying the same.
See, I have to wonder how many of our viewers actually have like a duvet day just with the iPad duvet wrapped around them, just sitting on the sofa.
I know I do.
Do a duvet?
Okay. In this episode, we have competition winners from the horror haiku to announce. We'll be doing that at the end of the show. We also are giving away a Khador Conquest Victor, which looks like this.
Yeah.
Oh! Let me see if we get it. Number 4 camp. There we go.
Yeah. Full plastic Conquest kit.
So we'll be giving that away. More on that at the end of the show as well. Next week, we've got Star Wars week next week. We have a full schedule of Star Wars related stuff.
Yes.
Not allowed to say much more about that.
It's slightly Star Wars related. It could just be a whole week of us watching the movies.
Yeah, it won't be that. It's going to be a cool week of Star Wars.
Building lightsabers.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a YouTube channel I've been watching. If you like your Star Wars, Master and Apprentice. It follows a prop maker teaching a young fella how to actually make different props. They actually make custom lightsabers on the channel. Very cool. Check it out.
I could do some of that. Do some of that. If you haven't been following along, come on over to besupport.com because for Backstagers, John has been building this this fallen AT-AT terrain piece.
Yes.
Massive AT-AT. So I'll give you a bit of the background to this. So back when I was a kid, we used to get the Kenner AT-ATs, which were about this size.
They're still pretty damn big.
They're perfect scale for 28mm gaming.
Aren't
if you happen to be doing any 28mm Star Wars gaming.
Aren't they the ones we used for the Hoth table?
Yes, I think we sent 6 of them. I think we did 6 of them for the Hoth table. So we'll hopefully flash up some images of the Hoth table. So we had those, we had Scout Walkers, we had the whole Battle of Hoth. I think we had 6 of them.
The full trench work done up.
However, at the point when we were building the Hoth table, we were trying to find these AT-ATs from all over the world, and we got them shipped in. And I got an AT-AT shipped in that whenever we set it up against all of the others, it was like, whoa, hang on a second.
Yeah.
That AT-AT's like
massive,
50% larger than these other ones. Like, well, what's going on here? So we did a bit of research, and some years later, Hasbro created an AT-AT, and I think it was kind of like a special edition AT-AT because this one had speeder bikes in the ass of the AT-AT, and sides opened up. It was bigger, bolder, better in every way. That AT-AT didn't get done for the Hoth table. I wanted to get it done for the Hoth table, but if you remember back to Hoth, and we have vlogs and stuff like that in for Backstagers about the entire build of that, which was I think it was something like 18 by 6.
That was everyone getting involved at some stage. It was a massive build.
3 6-foot tables long, so 18 feet.
Yeah, 18 by 6 Battle of Hoth with all of the trenches, with the power generators, everything, and it was all of the speeders against the ATSTs and the AT-ATs, and we had all of the troops and stuff that we had picked up from the old Wizards of the Coast Star Wars miniatures range. It was an epic thing to behold. We ran a game designer challenge. Grant Ennis very famously came in and designed the game.
Very good game.
I think with he was mentored a bit by, I think it was Alessio Cavatori we paired him up with to get some mentoring from, and he created a wonderful game. We took it to Salute, and it was 3 deep the entire time at Salute. People had a blast.
Yeah, I think that build we actually made it onto Kotaku with.
And Escapist.
Kotaku, it was an impressive table. We loved it. However, this AT-AT, I always wanted to do it as an Emperor class AT-AT. So I wanted to spray it black and do it as Emperor class AT-AT. We didn't have it, and it has kind of hovered around in the background. And every time I passed it, it went, please use me.
It's not saying that now.
It's not saying that now. It's going, you should have left me alone. Because AT-AT is now forming a great terrain piece for a potential 28mm Star Wars game. So what it is John has taken it. It's now a fallen AT-AT.
You took both of them and mixed them there.
A felon? Is this a criminal AT-AT? Does it have an APB?
Battle damage in the process of being scavenged and recovered. So it's going to be an AT-AT with a full kind of lattice scaffolding around it, where they're retrieving all of the power cores and things like that out of it. The belly of it has all been cut open. He's done weld cuts and stuff like that.
You know what we need to hunt down? We need to hunt down some Jawa miniatures. As if it's them that's cutting it out.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Just put a brown blanket on top of my head.
Just put you on the table.
But the whole thing is being built. He'll be continuing to vlog about it for the next probably another week or so. The whole thing is being built because at some point there's going to be an amazing 28mm Star Wars game drop, and we want to play on top of it. Yeah. But in the meantime, if we were going to be playing a 28mm Star Wars game in the future, hypothetically,
I assume this is the follow you moment.
Yes, you might want to follow me because I think it's time for Warren Meets Matt. Warren Meets Matt. Hum pum bum bum ba dum bum da dum. Right, take a look at this. Woo! Oh my god. Right. I'm going all Endor on you. Okay?
Well, it's non-door.
It looks pretty good outdoors too. Okay, so let me start with the mat. Okay, I have what we have found to be one of the best and most versatile mats that we've used in a long time. This is the Deep Cut Studios Swamp mat.
Yes.
Now, you may be familiar with this mat because we have used it a couple of times, and we almost always use it when we come to do Endor.
Yeah.
We used this whenever we did the X-Wing scale land battle.
Yes, I remember.
We'll get a couple of photographs up there for you of it. The mat itself, superb.
Yeah.
Superb. If you look at it, it has loads and loads of little viney and rooty kind of details. So although they call it a swamp mat, to me, it would equally act as forest surface.
Yeah, so like a rainforest floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or forest canopy.
True
enough.
Do.
But I was just thinking, you know where else from Star Wars this could work? What was that planet Yoda was on? I've forgotten its name.
Dagobah.
Dagobah. This could be Dagobah.
It totally would do Dagobah, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, if you get some water features that you could set down on top for swamps and stuff,
just have
like an X-Wing.
Half an X-Wing.
Half an X-Wing, just sticking this bit here is perfect.
There we go, half an X-Wing.
For half an X-Wing. Yeah, it's Jan
Jasinski.
Jan Jasinski was the designer of this mat. Yeah. Really nice job. Really nice job. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is our go-to mat for Endor. Scale-wise, works perfect as well. Like I said, we've done a kind of like an atmospheric X-Wing battle where we had, it was Endor again.
Yeah.
And we had AT-ATs, everything. So we had the rebels coming in, in their X-Wings and
Yeah.
Y-Wings to do a bombing ring. It was like the mop-up of Endor after the Death Star had been destroyed.
Yeah.
This was them coming in and killing off all the rest of the white helmets.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
But now, today, we have this set up for 28mm. So,
That's all we're going to say about that.
Yeah, nothing more.
Sorry.
there's shit we're not allowed to say, guys! Right, but tune in next week.
Yes.
The next week,
Yeah.
it all goes ballistic. But we are able to show you some cool terrain that we came across.
Yeah, so this is the stuff from Battle Kiwi. They had a Kickstarter not long ago,
No?
and this is the finished product. Now, I love some of this stuff. I love the bunkers for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can open them up. Doors work.
Hans, get in there! Get in there! Ooh.
You've got some little control consoles in there.
Uh-huh.
What I love most is, you see the actual tops of these?
Yes.
They actually make perfect dice trays built into your table.
Do they?
Yeah, you just roll dice straight into those. They don't go nowhere.
That's a fair point, actually.
Yeah.
You then have this massive landing platform, which I love for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's huge and it looks amazing. But if I lift it off,
It's all modular.
so if I grab this and bring it down to, say, here, we have a
Yep.
lower landing platform with some staircases, and then our little generator bits. These
Show off the generator.
pop on the top,
Oh, yeah.
and you have like flight control, which
Oh,
is
that's
really cool.
brilliant.
It is good, that, isn't it?
Yeah, now there is more of this that I haven't had the chance to build just yet.
I think there are a couple of laser guns in there.
There's laser cannons, there's like scatter terrain, and there's like a big radar dish thing, which I think would look amazing with this.
Excellent.
Like I said, didn't have time to build it just yet, but I will be doing it in the future.
We also have these bits here, which...
Work
to-
platforms.
Yeah, well, either work platforms or Justin, what they really look like to me is that these bits here would go...
Oh, yeah. Very Thunderbirds.
And then your Lambda
Oh,
crafts.
so
the Lambdas
underground
come-
shuttle base.
Oh,
Yeah, that could work.
That would be pretty
oh, I
cool.
love it.
I do love the
Absolutely
fact
love
that you
it.
get these little components. They're a little control console
Yes.
that you build up. And this comes with everything you see on it, even just the little bit of black cabling around the back here.
Oh, that's a very
cool.
nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit fiddly. You're going to want to be careful with it, but it's really good. And then you get this nice modular wall
I
section.
love the wall set because the wall set is fairly simple to construct.
Yep.
Goes together and gives you a good surface area coverage. It doesn't take very much to start creating a lot of wall, so you can actually do it straight like this, or in this case, we're starting to curve it off a bit.
There's enough flex in it to actually not be too rigid with what you're trying to build and trying to fit it on.
Yeah.
And anyone who ever played Age of Empires as a kid will know, good walls are key.
Good
Yeah.
walls are key.
And you get also a lot of these crates and stuff as well, which are going to be key for what we're going to use this for, because cover is king.
Is cover is king in a
So
certain game.
good walls
In a
are
certain
key.
game that we're not
In a
allowed to
certain
talk
game,
about. Yeah,
Cover
okay.
is king.
Yeah.
Talking of the landing pad, the landing pad can also
It splits, yep.
split.
So
Let's
these
see.
pop off.
I will let Justin pop
Eventually.
it off. There we go.
And then these come out. And then there's actually a bit in beneath here, which you have to lift up, which is sort of like a bridged walkway section.
So
Nice.
you can also put then more of this here on to take it all the way around. Yes.
No.
No?
So you don't get more of that. It's Star Wars. I really did debate.
Whether to pop on railings
yeah.
or not. Okay. So they can join together, and they join together by this. If I could feedback just one piece of
I know you want.
feedback to Battle Kiwi, cut the windows out.
Yeah.
Cut
Yeah.
the windows out.
But you see, the kits actually come with this sort of a clear perspex with them.
Yeah.
If you had the windows popping out, even just the sort of odd-shaped ones,
Yeah.
and then you had this sort of material going in between,
Yeah.
that would look so sexy.
Or just leave it empty, but definitely cut the windows out on that there. It just looks epic.
Yeah.
That just looks a bit too solid for my liking. I would
Yeah.
love it if you
But it is-
ramped up the power of your lasers to the power of the mighty cutting of the windows all the way through. Pretty please.
To be fair, though, it is Star Wars. They don't believe in windows on their corridors until the George Lucas special editions.
Ah, the man has a point.
Yes.
The man has a point.
He does.
Hmm.
For me, this is a fantastic kit. Definitely worth looking at if you're wanting to build some really cool sci-fi tables.
Now, it is shipping to backers in this at the moment in February.
Yes.
And then we are expecting the Battle Kiwi stuff to go on general release in March at
Yeah,
some
I
point,
believe
aren't we?
so.
Yeah. So if you are planning any sort of Legion's game, that you probably want to be getting a hold of some of this stuff.
I can see tons of legionaries running across this table.
Yeah.
Yes, fastest way to an Endor table. A
whole-
pretty spectacular Endor table, but fastest way to an Endor table that you can get. If you want to know about the trees are the beautiful trees that you can get from Foreground.
Oh yeah, we use them a lot.
Yeah, so this is our kind of like our go-to type of tree at the moment, particularly because I have a thing for willow trees. I don't know what it is, but I have a thing for the willow trees.
See, I don't know. I like something with the girth of a good oak tree.
Of course you do, Justin. Of course you do. Right.
Oh, that's a lovely oak tree.
I've got a beech tree.
We're done. You've just been Warren meated matted. That Battle Kiwi stuff is just
Big props to those guys.
so cool. So cool.
I will say, putting those kits together was an absolute delight. The landing pad takes a bit of time, but it is so worth it for that huge modular piece of terrain. I'm looking forward to building more of it.
Something we didn't actually show. There was one other thing that Battle Kiwi sent us and all of that.
Oh.
And thanks so much, Battle Kiwi. They sent us some New Zealand sweets. Do you remember them?
I don't think I tried these.
Oh, you didn't? Oh.
Dude, I'm the guy who tries nothing new in the world.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Like, do you have any idea of the psychological scarring last year when I went to France and had to try escargot? I had nightmares. The rest of that evening, it felt like the little bugger was trying to crawl back up out my throat.
Escargot is amazing. I've had it before. It's delicious. But
It pops.
These were, I think they were called pineapple chunks or something like that.
Yeah.
It was chocolate-covered pineapple sweets.
Oh, wow.
And they were the most fake thing I've ever tasted.
Well, I don't know. I remember like there was like a banana sweet when I was a kid, but it was like a crumbly stuff on the inside of it.
Yes. A crumbly banana sweet.
Yeah.
I dropped one of these chocolates and it bounced. It was amazing. Thanks, Battle Kiwi.
Yes. Big props to those guys. That terrain is absolutely amazing.
Definitely.
So when we started to see it come together, especially that big landing pad. When we saw the landing pad fully erect, I started to have regrets. Deep regrets. Not for that reason. No, relax. I had regrets that we were cutting up the AT-AT. I wasn't feeling,
What, did you want to have that as like a docking platform?
Yes, because there was corridors that led to nowhere. But if you can imagine our AT-AT backed up against it with its ass open, they could have climbed into the AT-AT. There's probably a name for that. It would be
The
a rear
access
hatch. A rear hatch, yes. The ass hatch.
I just currently have memories now of the YouTube fan made series Troopers.
Yeah.
So it was like
College
cops,
humor.
but it was like cops, but if it was done with stormtroopers, it was hilarious.
But am I not correct in that Luke Skywalker met Vader in Return of the Jedi in basically one of those big landing platforms in a corridor? And if I remember correctly, I think it might have been in the special edition. In the window behind them, there was an AT-AT or something moving across.
I can't remember. I do remember the meeting in the corridor.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. It might be one of those Mandela effect moments.
I guess it's a reason to go and watch Star Wars again.
I think it absolutely is.
Star Wars is kind of like Doctor Who in some ways, in that a lot of it takes place in corridors.
And a lot of it takes place in your own mind. Because I seriously sometimes watch some of these movies now going, I remembered that totally differently. And I'd obviously just recreated it.
The Luke, I am your father thing.
No, that's a true Mandela effect. That is because of CERN and the Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
They have been splitting us off into parallel universes. This is a backstage conversation. We have the Justin Mind Melter from time to time. We shouldn't be letting our stuff slip out into here. So.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear more of that, I have an amazing Mind Melter for him tomorrow.
So if you want to see just steam blowing at me,
join backstage because I have a superb Mind Melter for him
all right,
tomorrow.
you're on.
Anyway, Battle Kiwi, we will definitely be keeping an eye on that. I'm dead keen to see some more. Right, we're going to take a very quick break to tell you about some of the amazing hubs of centers of content we have over here on Piece of War. When we come back, we're going to get stuck into the news.
Twisted aliens and demented cultists battle across the devastating science fiction world of Dark Age. Muster your forces and learn to survive at beastsofwar.com. Become a general of mighty armies at the Kings of War Hub. Take command of elves, dwarves, and orcs in this game of masked fantasy combat on beastofwar.com.
Okay, Ben, we have jam-packed news this week. Do you want to start taking us through it?
Yeah, sure. So the first stuff comes out of guys at Archon Studio. They had a very successful Kickstarter quite recently for Chronicle X, which is their sort of aliens taking over and invading Earth, and you play as the humans trying to hold them back. This news story that came out this week was a little bit of a sort of an update on where things are. They've got their late pledges open at the moment, so you can go and pledge if you missed out on the Kickstarter project. But they also wanted to show off some of the models they've been working on that were sort of lower down in the stretch goals and stuff, that were at the higher values and things. And so they've been showing off the progress on that and some of the renders. And to start things off, we've got some really awesome stuff with the grey assassins. So you've got some sort of sleek and deadly looking assassins there. They're a little bit different from the typical greys you might see. We've also got the likes of the heavy grey infantry as well. So these are the guys that are a little bit more clad in armor, and they're carrying big, huge laser weapons and all sorts of different things into battle. And then we've got some slightly quirky and interesting bits as well, because we've got the looks of the slip steel mech robot, which is for the heroes.
I'm sorry,
and then
did RoboCop and Ed 209 have like a one-night stand?
more or less, yeah. But then he's the kind of guy that will probably go up against the sort of alien Romeri there as well. This guy kind of reminded me of the creature from Men in Black.
Yes.
Yeah. So very cool indeed. And then possibly one of my favorites from this little selection of news was the addition of the guy named Pentagon there, and he's a grey traitor. So he was one of the guys that landed back in Roswell in 1947, and instead of carrying on fighting for the Greys, he now works for humanity, and it seems like he quite likes our clothing choices and cigars, I think, as well.
I
so very cool
like that figure.
I hope
brilliant.
They sculpted it with that billow of smoke coming off the cigar.
Yeah, this game actually does look so much fun.
Yeah,
I have no idea how the rules of it play out. Even I'm still wondering how the rules of it play. But if the miniatures alone, I'd happily take the miniatures and make my own game for this, because what they've done is they've lodged it so deep into the 80s. It's unreal. There's just all of these great kind of 80s vibes and stuff like that running through it. And let's be honest, the 80s are now cool.
It's because we're going through that 30-year nostalgia period. The whole thing that nostalgia runs in series of about 30-year cycles. I think it would be the 80s. You were seeing nostalgia for the 50s and everything. Even as we were talking earlier, Star Wars is technically in the nostalgic look back at the old
late
serials. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Star Wars, I think, was 77 or something like that. Yeah,
it's a nostalgic look back at the old sci-fi serials you used to go.
Yeah.
Although, are you guys excited for the new Solo movie? Have you seen the teaser trailers?
Do you know what? I know the teaser trailer came out. My needle didn't shift very much, but then I'm not. Look, let me give you where I'm at on this. Right, I think I've reached a stage in my life.
Have you hit Star Wars saturation?
No, I've hit a different kind of saturation.
That can happen.
I've hit a saturation where how do I put this? Where people seem to think that their opinions actually matter. Have we really reached a stage where movies and things like this need so utterly dissected? They're a piece of entertainment. You sit back, you let it wash over you, you enjoy it or you don't. The amount of dissection that is going on in some of these movies, I just look at it, I go, really?
I don't know.
Really?
That's the fun for some people is looking to see all of the Easter eggs.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not talking about Easter eggs.
Oh, right.
I'm talking about people that are digging right into it, looking for plot holes and lore and stuff like that there. And I find to myself, these days, I tend to let these movies just wash over me. So I'm getting to the stage now where I'm not letting my expectations run too high. Another example of this is Avatar. Right, I really enjoyed the Avatar movie.
The original one, Blue Aliens, yeah?
Yeah, Blue Aliens.
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great piece of entertainment. Really enjoyed it. I know there's another 5 in the works.
What?
They're supposed to be.
Yeah, they're all being developed simultaneously. Okay, simultaneous assault on the other 5 movies. And you know what? I'm keeping my needle way down here so that whenever it comes along, I can just sit back and I might enjoy it or I might not. But I think the internet is now so full of people just putting out opinion, and I have been watching it. I've been looking, going, did it really matter? A lot of it.
For me, with Avatar, it's just like, yeah, that was fun. Nice to see Pocahontas again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge a movie by its trailer. It really is. You know, a trailer's just there to kind of tease you, right? So, you know, how can you judge something just on the teasing?
Does it look interesting? Does it intrigue you? Does it draw you in, though? That's the question.
Not really. No. No. I'm a massive fan of Star Wars. Okay. I'm more interested now, I've got to say, in being able to play Star Wars.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Because as much as I'm a fan of other things, my true heart is in miniature gaming. Okay, my blood and my heart pumps for miniature gaming. So I'm excited about the prospect of lots of us getting together and playing out Star Wars, because as cool as the movies and all are, I have a million Star Wars scenarios in my mind that I want to play out on the tabletop.
Every fan.
I've already been playing about with a couple of different ideas for scenarios for the tabletop.
Yeah. So solo. I don't know. I'm just not letting my needle budge that much on
fair
it.
enough.
I'm letting it wash over me. I will be absolutely going to see it. I love this winter schedule that Disney have been with the movies coming out in December, because it coincides with my little girl's birthday every year, and we now have a little ritual that's building that around her birthday we always go to see the new Star Wars.
Cool. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. But then I massively enjoyed the last one.
It was good.
I massively enjoyed the last one, and I watched people pick it apart.
I went there and just went, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you an example, right? And it happened in here in the studios. The people started to pick apart. I loved the bombing scene at the start. I thought it was one of the greatest Star Wars scenes
I know what you mean now.
I had seen, right? I thought, I sat back and I just let it all wash over me, and I thought, what a great moment. And the reason I felt it was a great moment, because it took me back to the original movie, okay, where all of the X-Wings was based on the old dogfight movies, okay? So I thought to myself, this really does smack of the old World War II kind of a thing.
Feel.
Yeah, and I can see why they've done this, right? But our guys, Lloyd, Az, and stuff, all started to dissect it and pick it apart, saying, you know, why would they fall? Where was the gravity? Why were how did bombs fall and stuff? And I had answers for every bit of it. And it's very simple.
Because sci-fi.
Yeah, I could have just went that route. And believe me, I was tempted, but I had a better answer. Star Destroyers are massive. They're city-like. Plus, they also have their own gravity generators inside. So they'll be generating the gravity equivalent to one Earth's gravity to keep people on the ground, to keep the thing. So if you're flying over that gravity doesn't just stop at the hull of a ship. It will expand beyond a ship. So which means that if you're flying over it, you will have the same gravitational effects as if you were flying over a planet.
Funnily enough, that's if you look at the old Red Dwarf, if you're going with that, that's the classic Red Dwarf model. If you look at it, there's an old asteroid embedded in the side because it's supposed to have had its own gravity and things got attracted to it. So the stuff gets stuck on the Red Dwarf.
But I thought
not to mention the actual ship that the bombs are in itself would have its own gravity generation. Yeah. So once the bombs actually leave that gravitational field, they'll keep going because there's nothing to pull on them, even if the Star Destroyer wasn't doing it.
I really thought. I just thought as a scene, I thought it was fabulous.
Yeah.
We're going on.
Yeah, we're getting stuck into this. The news is not happening.
Welcome to Beast of War film review.
Right. Next up, we have a board game. Yes. This is coming from Plaid Hat Games, and we've been looking forward to this one. This is called Stuffed Fables.
I am so excited for this.
Ben, tell us about it.
Yeah, so this is from Jerry Hawthorne, who works with Plaid Hat Games a lot, and he did Mice and Mystics. And this is kind of like his little bit of a love letter follow-up to that. And this is where you're playing as stuffed toys and animals, and you're venturing into the fall to try and rescue your beloved child that has been taken away by an evil mastermind. And the big thing behind this is there's a huge, heavy narrative focus to this, and it's all about you adventuring forth through this cool adventure book and then fighting monsters and dealing with them together with your friends, and then eventually trying to make it to the end and to save your beloved child that has looked after you for so many different years. And Looks absolutely amazing, incredibly charming. We've seen this at the likes of Essen as well. Really wonderful little miniature sculpts and everything. This looks like it could be a really good successor to anybody that loved Mice and Mystics. Basically, this is that next step for you, really. So yeah, very cool indeed.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, we're fortunate enough, we actually have it in the studio being caressed by Sam.
Are you a happy bunny, Teddy?
I am very happy. I have wanted to play this game ever since I saw it first announced. It's got that dark fairy tale and whimsy atmosphere that I love in games and settings. If you want to take a look at that
I want to crack it open and actually have a look inside. We're going to try and get a playthrough, a let's play of this.
I am determined to.
The thing that really intrigues me with this is the gaming board is like a storybook.
It is a book, It's everything in one. It's got.
First up, you have the rule book. Okay, unfortunately enough, the rule book itself is not very thick. I like to see that.
Yes.
So this gives you an indication of how the cards work. Working through to game setup. You then have page setup. Isn't the art lovely?
It's wonderful.
Really charming.
They've actually built this one as a good gateway game that you can get around with your family. And I
will be putting that to the test to try and see how little ones actually do take to it. So you have a README first in there. So let me just get you... Oh, I have a bigger camera. There we go. Well, let's do it on that one. So we have a README first. This is the Discovery deck. Do not rearrange or look through these cards. These cards are arranged and divided by divider cards into stories. Each story in the storybook will instruct players to collect the Discovery cards that belong to that story and to set them aside. As the story plays out, players will be instructed to retrieve specific cards from these set-aside cards. Intriguing. Intriguing.
Yes.
You then have your tokens, so... can show you the token set. The token set, one of the things that I'm always checking out whenever I lift out a token set is, has the die cut actually matched up? Because one of the things that really grinds my gears when I buy a board game is when I open it up and the die cut is offset. I just, whoa.
Yeah, but it really grinds my gears.
Yeah, good.
It's nice to see that you're not just being thrown hundreds of tokens either. That can be, I find that quite intimidating.
A lot of games have that habit these days.
And here we have the book itself.
It's the book. Okay, so let's get a look at the book. So if we go into camera 3 here, and we can start to get a look. So
this takes
the book opens up. We move that out of the way there. So
this is your adventure, your game board, your
start
rules,
in the bedroom.
Everything.
Okay, as all great things do. Make your way through to the junkyard.
You're getting through to the land of the fall.
The place that lies beyond. The thrill ride.
Yeah.
Isn't this cool?
You have a lot of playability in this game with all the pages in there.
You know, look. Oh my word!
Something you can play.
Oh my word!
Now I have to wonder: is this whenever you finish a scenario like a choose your own adventure, where it'll tell you, okay, you completed this, now pick which of these 2 routes you're going to go and flip to it?
I believe there's an element of
there
that.
Must be an element of that.
Could be
too.
so
now,
good.
I've got to be careful here because I don't want to open anything. It doesn't need to be opened just yet because I want to leave it for the guys to do the playthrough.
Yeah.
But we have the actual character cards.
Yep.
We then have this little tiny deck, and then 3 of the larger decks.
So the story one is the one that we do not reorganize.
This is a discovery deck, okay? And then you have an item deck, and then this must be the event deck because I see ticking toy bomb. Now, the bit that we all want to see is we want to see the minis. Oh, wait!
Dice.
You get a bag of dice.
I like that they're all mismatched and everything.
Oh, how cute is that? For buttons for tokens.
Nice.
That's cool.
Oh, okay, so... I'm in love. I'm in love. What a beautiful little detail. A little bag of buttons. Oh, right.
That's a nice solid little bag for holding it all in as well.
Let's get a look at the minis themselves here to see what they're like. So, 1 piece minis. So no assembly.
They are beautiful figures.
Let's get them lined up here.
Well, there's your main villain.
Yeah, that's Kretus, the Nightmare King.
Okay, if you guys could move that out of the way for me, I can get these minis into place.
I'll amuse myself with the book over here.
I tell you what, guys, the minis are superb quality. As gaming pieces, I have absolutely no issue with these at all. The art direction style on these minis means that they are highly unlikely to suffer the problems that some of the more realistic minis have when you're trying to create them in this kind of material. But these are beautiful. These are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So
bring them a bit more onto camera there.
There we go. Look at that guy there.
Oh, he is cool.
Look at this. This dog is amazing.
That's a mongrel, I think.
A mongrel.
Yep, or mongrel.
Oh, it's like a dolly with spider legs.
That's a crawler. They are creepy.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These little guys here, I've forgotten what they're called, but they remind me of the Heartless from Kingdom Hearts.
It's just the cutest little elephant toy there.
With a big hammer.
I think
These are great.
I think these 3 here that I have are your heroes.
Yeah, it's stuffies.
Yeah.
And there should be one more in here somewhere.
This fellow here with
So
his
3 heroes.
4 heroes. I
4
believe.
heroes.
This fellow
Yeah,
here
this
with
guy
his-
here. Yeah.
knitting needle weapon.
So there you have it. The
Sam, I'm afraid that's a pencil with an eraser.
Fables for you to check out.
I wanna play
Stay
this.
tuned. We will be getting a let's play of that as soon as
definitely.
we can. Okay, Ben, from stuffed toys to stuffed people in the jungle. It's time for some Nam.
Yeah, so Battlefront are going to be taking us back to the jungles of Vietnam with a new rule set called just Nam, using the Team Yankee rule system. So anyone that's familiar with that, and there's some new mechanics they've thrown into the mix there, that's going to be available for you to go and check out. As well as the main rulebook that's coming out with a new website and everything you can go and check out in more detail. They're also going to be supporting this with some new plastic kits as well, and some plastic army boxes. So we've got the likes of the US there being championed by the Black Horse Armored Cavalry Troop, and then we've also got the Vietnamese forces, or the PAVN, with the K2 Ironclad Battalion as well. If anybody who's interested about the idea of using tanks in Vietnam, actually, if you go back and look at the Oriskany series, which is going on at the moment, all about the Tet Offensive, he does actually talk in great detail about the use of tanks in some of the battles that broke out during this particular part of the war as well. So it's very interesting indeed. And then, of course, you can't have Vietnam without some helicopters. So there's also an air mobile air cavalry troop that gets brought into the game as well when this launches. So you've got all the different types of helicopters there with the Hueys and stuff, dropping off your troops into the objective-based battles. So, very good.
Absolutely, the timing of this is perfect. We have Oriskany, the historical editor, he's coming towards the end of a 5-part Vietnam gaming series at the moment, where he talks about the Tet Offensive, which was the big push in Vietnam, and he's going into all of the kind of the gamification, the gameability of that, and how it works. It's a fascinating series. We're going to get Jim on the show next week to talk about it in more detail before the last and final part of that series comes up. But I love this stuff. Those box sets from Battlefront are just superb.
Well, they're chock full of stuff. You've plenty to get yourself underway in gaming. You know, there's none of that hurdle of going, okay, I've got my starter box, where do I go?
Yeah. The key to this is for me, I'm no expert, but for me, the 15mm scale of the Battlefront stuff is perfect for Vietnam, because Vietnam, from my conversations with Jim and from looking through the articles, where the game is in the Vietnam stuff is not necessarily in the battle, because the battle is so asymmetric, it's unbelievable.
Yes.
It's in forcing the US player to recover casualties and things like that. So that would be really quite difficult to do at any scale at 28mm.
Yeah.
So that 15mm scale allows you to have it at a size that is, I think, is just about perfect. Where the number of casualties matter. The fact that you can have your helicopters and stuff like that jumping in and out. You have the battles of Vietnam.
Yeah.
At a scale that is just at that nice level, and it's at the nice level, especially with the detail that Battlefront are putting into their plastics at the moment. You know, you just looking at it and going, this just looks shit hot.
It's fantastic.
Be careful of pauses like that.
Yes. For me, it's very interesting because I went to Vietnam last year on the way back, and there's one thing I particularly want to see if it can be implemented into Vietnam games, And that was the Coochie Tunnels that I went to.
Well, Coochie Tunnels are a part of Vietnam games, because what they have is they have hidden token rules and things like that you can use to replicate it. So the idea of the actual tunnels is you're not actually playing the tunnels, but what can happen is under certain conditions, Viet Cong can emerge where you're not expecting them to emerge. Also, Viet Cong can disappear where you weren't expecting them to disappear. So although the game is completely asymmetric, no, let me rephrase that. The game is not asymmetric. The battles are completely asymmetric. The game is balanced because of the different mechanisms each side has to play. And that's what makes it just so utterly fascinating for me. Because Vietnam was it was a bit of an enigma to me 10 years ago, because everything was World War II in the historical sphere, obviously the Napoleonics, the ancients and stuff like that, but I mean in the kind of the modern sphere, everything was kind of World War II, starting at 15 mil, it was all World War II, and I often wondered how would Vietnam ever work? Who would ever want to play the Viet Cong and take such a hammering? But then Battlefront took on that challenge and came out with the initial Vietnam rules, and then suddenly it became clear because they are incredible historians in there. And through their own depth of knowledge, they were able to then pick out the game is not just in the battle. It's about the resource management and stuff like that, and that's where the game lies.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting focus.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting, and I'm really keen to see how the game plays now with the Team Yankee rules behind it. So I'm expecting to hopefully see some cards and things like that for it as well. Cool stuff.
Seeing some table builds for that could be very, very cool. I want to see what people actually lay out to actually put Vietnam on the tabletop.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have Red Beam's Funland Terrain. Ben, what's this one all about?
Yeah, so this is a terrain set coming out in MDF, or it's already available, sorry. And this is for you to create a fun land on the tabletop. So this includes all sorts of different pieces, including the likes of a roller coaster. There's also a Ferris wheel in there, as well as all the other sort of amenities you'd see at a carnival. So you've got all kinds of stands and stalls and all sorts of things thrown into the mixer as well. Now, obviously, this kind of stuff is great if you're trying to look at for example, Batman. Maybe you have some really cool games being played out on the tabletop with this. One of the things that Az pointed out with this as well, actually, is that you could also use it for your zombie apocalypse stuff, because there's actually a level, I think it's in Left 4 Dead 2, where you're actually fighting around a really awesome sort of circus and carnival place. So yeah, some really interesting ideas to go forward and use with this terrain. And as I say, it's all available now for you to go and pick up for something a little bit different from your typical battlefield, I suppose you'd say.
Honestly, with Mofidious's Fallout game coming, there's a scene in, I think it's New Vegas, just near the start. You actually go down and you're in like a sort of hotel area, but one of the hotels has a massive roller coaster on it. You could build a theme park into a Fallout game very easily.
Speaking on zombies, I believe, what was that movie, Zombieland?
Yeah,
I believe the whole final act of that, it takes place in a theme park like this.
It's amazing how this having a set of this terrain in your club or whatever could just you can just start to integrate it. I'm thinking Walking Dead. No problem.
Definitely. Of course.
Batman.
Of course.
Yeah. No problem.
That was my first thought.
Spectre. You think of it right. Okay, so Spectre is a modern warfare. You think of fights in around Chernobyl.
Oh, dude, no, God. Oh.
That would be amazing.
Do you have any idea how much you would have to weather this stuff?
Yeah, let's just weather it down,
Actually, in Japan, there are a bunch of abandoned theme parks that urban explorers keep breaking into. I've seen pictures of those things. It looks amazingly creepy. I would love to see something like that.
For myself, last year I got given the most beautiful set of painted Scooby-Doo minis by a community member. So for myself, I would love to pick up something like that, and myself and the kids would play the Scooby-Doo game in and around that, because I just think that would be rocking. I would also very happily utilize that in Volsung. I would steampunk it up maybe a little bit as well.
Yeah, you could do that.
It's one of those kits that you first look at it, you go, I don't know what I would use that for. And then after a little while, you go, I don't know what I wouldn't use that for. It's like
Warhammer.
40K theme park. Yeah.
A grim dark theme park.
Actually, in all of my reading of 40K stuff, I have never seen any mention to like an arcade or a fun area.
It's because there is
like
no
that.
fun in the
There is no
first
fun. There is only war. It's like
In the grim darkness of the far future, you must be this high to ride
the thing about it is, I can't even think of a single Space Marine chapter that would even have enough personality to have some fun. Space Wolves would look out and go and be grumpy.
No, they
about
would get drunk and break everything.
But Blood Angels.
I've got this wonderful image now of just a bunch of Space Marines in full power armor queuing up for the and into the cart.
I just see them top of the roller coaster, just and just a whole row of them.
Orcs.
Orc.
I would
Yes,
orcify.
orcs would
I would
do
orcify.
Harlequins.
I would Harlequins attacking orcs.
Yes.
In a theme park. I would have orcs hanging off. Gretchen's hanging off all aspects of that, welding and soldering and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
You
I think
could
that would
do
be great.
an Imperial Guard one where it's like a USO show.
Yes.
That could be fun.
We just did what you said. We started off going, what could we use? What couldn't I use this for?
And then finally, our final piece of news this week, we have the Awful Orphanage board detailed. So tell us a little bit about Awful Orphanage, Ben.
Cool. So this is a game that's coming out to Kickstarter on the 22nd of March. It's by Workhouse Games, and this was just a quick tease from these guys showing off just one of the modular setups for the board that you're going to be getting in the in the game when it comes out. So this showed off one of the layouts, but also we got some close looks at some of the rooms as well, and we really wanted to show off some of the detail that you get here as well, because they've gone really, really deeply into creating these very, very intricate little art pieces for each of the tiles, and there are so many little details worked into each of them that you can pick out and say, oh, that's really fantastic, and notice things. Like, for example, when you look at, I think it's the orderly's restroom, you'll notice that every single one of the chairs in that little room are all different from each other. So it shows that each of them has their own personalities as well, and just the way that it's been drawn with that light from the middle sort of emanating outwards and the shadows and stuff, it really feeds into that idea of this horror and this pulpy weird stuff going on in the world of the Awful Orphanage. But yeah, some awesome stuff from these guys, and we're going to have loads more previews as well in the run-up to the Kickstarter. So yeah.
Go back to the orderlies one. Go back to the orderlies
sorry.
one. I just noticed, if you look at the door at the bottom, it's got a not welcome mat.
Yeah.
That's a great touch of detail.
Well,
Exactly,
we actually have an interview with the Awful Orphanage. Who's in that?
Myself and Justin.
Okay. Well, I will get out of your way and let these guys take you through a little bit more of the Awful Orphanage.
Hi, I'm Gemma from Battlefoam, and you're watching The Weekender on beastsofwar.com.
Hi everybody and welcome. I am joined by Sam in the studio, and today we are having a chat with Paul and Tim from Workhouse
Games, yeah.
Yes, it's one of those things. I'm terrible with names this early in the morning, and they are creating a game called Awful Orphanage. So guys, would you maybe like to give us a bit of an intro into what exact kind of madness you are creating here?
Well, the Awful Orphanage is a game where kids get to kill grown-ups, all set in a nice kind of dark and horrendous Victorian orphanage, filled with Lovecraftian magic and just weird and wonderful kids and kind of strange stuff happening. So yeah, we wanted to create a game whereby you had to purposely annoy your friends, and you could maybe lose those friendships by the end of 45 minutes to an hour.
Sold.
Yeah. Well, you talk about we never annoy anyone in here.
It started off as a cooperative game, but because of his preferences game-wise, it changed to a non-cooperative, very non-cooperative game.
Very non-cooperative. Okay, I like that
Yeah,
term.
that sounds very good. Okay, so can you give us an idea? Where did you get the inspiration for this game?
Well, it all came out. Tim, obviously, he came out with this phrase a little while ago, a good while ago now, but he just had this character called the Gaunt and Sinister Man.
Popped into my head from watching too many Tim Burton films and things like that.
Yeah, it is very Tim Burton with the art style.
Yeah, but he said this phrase, and immediately it kind of conjured up these images of a Victorian orphanage and, you know, taking away kids, kind of, you know, child catcher style, and just this world kind of built around it. eventually, as Tim said, it was going to be a nice cooperative game where you all had to fight him and kind of, you all win, yay! But that's boring. What I really wanted was people to hate you by the time you'd finished.
Slightly strong.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've played some games where people have walked away from the table not exactly best pleased with me for some of my tactics.
Oh well, them's the breaks.
Yeah.
Yep, such is life. Okay, well,
Yeah.
can you take us through pretty much the basic premise of how a game is going to run start to finish? So where the orphans begin, where they're hopefully going to end up. What is the key goal to this game?
Okay, so that we have a board, which is, how large is it? Would you say it's roughly 2 foot by foot and a half, say, and we have 4-inch square rooms, and 1.5-inch square corridors, which you place. The board starts off with, in one corner, the orphan's attic bedroom, which is where all the orphans start, and in the other corner is Miss Prendergast's office, and you have to get to Miss Prendergast's office having equipped yourself with one of the flintlock pistols that reside within the orphanage.
And who is Miss Prendergast?
I don't know why there are flintlock pistols residing in an orphanage, but if you kind of think of sort of old relics mounted on a wall without the intention of them ever firing or whatever, whatever, as just as decoration. But one of the orphans is quite good with his hands and has managed to actually make them work. So the reason that they're trying to get to Miss Prendergast to offer, basically, is because she is killing orphans.
Oh.
Yeah. Partly for money, because she claims money from the parish. This is kind of set in 1888, which was the year that the London Underground was started, which we may come on to for other reasons later in the conversation. 1888. So she's taking money from the parish, the council, whatever you want to call, for looking after the orphans, keeping the gutter snipes off the street. Obviously, she's got a finite number of beds and what have you. There's an infinite number of gutter snipes in Victorian London. So she keeps bringing them in, but she needs to make room to keep bringing them in. So they're getting removed. And into this scenario comes this guy, who's the gaunt and sinister. He's a creature of nightmare, not of this world.
Uncle Chris?
For reasons that we may come on to shortly. And he prowls around the orphanage along with a bunch of orderlies. These guys, Justin, orderlies.
If you just
kind of
shaved off the bottom of your beard, maybe you could...
Oh, no, don't make me an orderly.
Stretch goals.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Don't do it.
Yeah. He's basically kind of from, if you like, World of Cthulhu, kind of the other side, whatever you want to call it. And obviously the souls of orphans help to, bring further nightmare creatures from wherever he comes from. So that's why they're trying to do it. The orphans, well, they could cooperate and work together, but that's no fun. And clearly, as they're all born in the gutter, none of them trust each other. Trust is a thing that is entirely alien to them. Mm-hmm. So they're just basically all working single-handedly to kill Miss Prendergast and escape.
Okay.
And that's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay.
Large nutshell. Waffly. There we go.
Well, I mean, one thing I do wonder about is how you're going to actually take this to the tabletop. What some of the key mechanics to the game are going to be. So, would you be able to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Basically, each player, they will take control of an orphan, and each orphan has their own unique kind of special ability. So we've got orphans like Lickety Split, for example. Where's she? There she is. So Lickety Split is, kind of 9-10-year-old little girl, but she can run faster than everyone else. And her special ability is that she can move a couple of extra spaces. Then we have orphans, for example, like Duffer, or Duffer. Here he is. Who is, well, he's not one for words really. He much prefers having a fight. So when things happen where orderlies are coming to try and nab you, he's a bit better at getting rid of them. So you start off by picking your orphan. We've got 6 to choose from. And then you create the board as you go with the rooms and tiles and corridors that we provide with the game.
So there are 3 rooms that start on the board. So we've got the attic bedroom as Prendergast, and in the middle we've got a double-sized room, the dining room, or the refectory, whatever you want to call it. But the rest, they're all placed.
Yeah, so every time you play the game is completely random. There are 2 rooms that when they come out or when they get placed by the players, they cause really bad things to happen, like they summon the Gaunt and Sinister Man, or it's the Orderly's Rest Room where Orderlies are sitting waiting for you and they'll start to patrol the game. But all the other rooms, you can search inside them, and when you search, you take a stuff card. And those stuff cards, or a loot card, sorry, and those loot cards, they can give you items. They can give you a catapult to help you fight. They can give you a bit of broken brick that you can whack an orderly around the head with. Or they can give you things like marbles, which you can drop on the floor to really annoy your friends as they come skedaddling past you. Or you can use them to send the orderlies backwards, to smash them into a wall. Then we've got things like the creepy clown kid, who he's one of those weird kids, but he always wears clown makeup, and he's in the dark corners of the orphanage.
He's kind of like the Gaunt and Sinister. He was a sort of an early attempt at summoning the Gaunt and Sinister Man that went wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just this kid that looks like a clown that just comes and stares at you and just completely unnerves anybody that comes anywhere near him. And you just have no choice but to turn around and go away.
That kind of sounds like me when I go to a con.
I've got to say, I find that scarier than the Gaunt and Sinister Man, and I've been a clown.
It's specifically, I think, it being a kid kind of wigs me out even more. It's just, I can imagine him standing in the corner, just kind of staring at you, and you kind of go nope and go the other way, really, because you don't want to go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of imagine him just having this tiny little voice going, "Oh, Deadway, come and have a look in this room. There's wonderful toys in here."
Exactly. Exactly.
No.
So yeah, we've got that. We've got Miss Prendergast's dog can make an appearance, who will call the orderlies to her. Apart from the Gaunt and Sinister Man, because in the kind of fluff and background, he hates that dog, so he gets pushed away from the dog if the dog comes out onto the board. But then there are cards, like I say, with itching powder and roller skates, and that you can use them to annoy your friends, make them drop items, because a couple of the cards in there are the guns. And if you get those guns, it's time to get yourself over to Miss Prendergast's office as quickly as you can, because you'll win the game. So all your friends, you're kind of playing a game of poker, whereby you're trying not to give away the fact you've got the gun, because they're trying to play cards to completely ruin your turn. So that's the Awful Orphanage.
Excellent.
This sounds fun, because I can imagine me having a gun in my hand and Sam notices that I'm starting to make a beeline for her office. And then just goes, "Wait a minute, you're getting a little close to her office there. What's going on here?"
Time to lay down some marbles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And we heard that you recently got Gav Thorpe on board as well. Can you tell us what sort of thing he'll be doing?
Well, we're both old school 40k nerds, to be honest. I was
Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy as well. But I was playing 40k since Rogue Trader, and kind of Gav was this luminary figure. So with second edition and things like that. So I spoke to him and kind of explained the premise of it, and he was really into the whole world that we're trying to build. So he's one of the greatest writers at kind of bringing, and that's what we needed. So after a couple of chats with him, we've got a really good concept of where we're going with this game, the backstory for the game. So pretty much he's building the world for us, along with us. So he's in on it, and shaping everything that we come up with, which is lovely.
This sounds fun. This sounds really fun. I mean, I've always loved Gav Thorpe's writing.
Gav is a great writer, yeah.
So it's to see him come in on a project like this. I'm very curious to see just what sort of arcs and changes we're going to see to it. Now, you guys mentioned the London Underground a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and twist the arm a little bit here. Can you maybe give us a little more detail on that?
Yes, please. I'm fascinated by the Underground's history.
So, the year is 1888. They've started digging out the London Underground. So kind of technology is advancing. However, I don't know what to say without giving it away too much, but balls to it. the people digging out the London Underground break through into the Hollow Earth.
Oh.
The Hollow Earth exists, and it's real, and it's filled with weird eldritch magics and strange creatures and weird demons that
Gaunt and sinister men.
Yeah, Gaunt and Sinister Men, for example, and the creepy clown kid, for example. So all the stories are 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne, and the strange portals that were out in Nepal that people went out to go and explore. They were all true. So straight underneath the orphanage is the first breach to the Hollow Earth. And that's why this stuff starts to crack off around there. So the idea is we're leading in with the Awful Orphanage because it's a really nice concept, but we're going to go deeper into the Hollow Earth as we go.
Oh,
lovely.
Could we be seeing some of the stranger things from the Underground's history, like the Beast of Fleet Street, maybe?
It's entirely possible.
I'm going to need to go do some research.
Yes.
1888 is a wonderful year.
It is that.
Good old Saucy Jack was around and things like that. So yeah, spot on.
For me, I'm just expecting to maybe walk down an alleyway somewhere and find a gem of some form of non-Euclidean shape. Well, it does.
We'll just make a note of that one.
Oh damn!
There you go.
Ideas, damn it!
Yeah.
Joseph Bazalgette would be proud.
Right, gents, is there anything you want to get out there as well? Anything you think we haven't covered here, or do you think we're good?
I think we're getting there. I would just kind of probably throw into the conversation that despite the original idea for the game being mine, I've never actually won a game. For the entire time that we've been playtesting it, I have never won a game.
You're too nice, that's your problem.
I came close once.
Oh.
But I actually found the gun once, because we have a stack of loot cards, and usually I pick up things that are useless, like a mop, or we do have a number of items within the deck that on the face of it look useless, but they do have uses, but I won't go so much into it. But I did actually find the gun once.
Right.
But with my best poker face on, I kind of carried on rather than just heading straight for Miss Prendergast's room. I thought, I'm going to carry on searching for things, make him think that I haven't got the gun, and I summoned the Gaunt and Sinister Man straight into the room that I was in.
Oh.
He removed the gun from me, sent me back to the attic, and that was it. I never got a sniff of it again. So despite playing it, I don't know how many times, I am yet to win a game.
Oh, best of luck.
Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, is this a game coming direct to retail, or are you thinking Kickstarter? Just for information's sake.
So we launch on Kickstarter first and foremost on the 22nd of March. Then with a plan to move into retail. We're working with a few retailers already to kind of get those balls moving, but Kickstarter is our first port of call, mainly for the reach, and I think the interest level of board games on Kickstarter at the minute is just better than it's ever been.
We've got to mention Neil from Leodis Games.
Yes, he's helping us out with the whole retail thing, bless him.
He's massively on board, and he would take it amiss if we didn't mention Leodis Games. So we are going to mention Leodis Games. Cheers, Neil.
Fantastic, gents. Thank you very much for coming in today. Everybody, keep your eyes peeled for the Awful Orphanage. They do have a Kickstarter page. If this has got you curious, make sure to go across, give the page a like. It'll keep you up to date with all the latest and greatest news and let you know whenever that Kickstarter does go live. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear, do you think this is the kind of game that you and your mates are going to sit down and play and have a lot of fun with? I mean, like I can imagine us here in the office sitting down and really just aiming to screw each other over all day long.
Definitely. And of course, I am all into my Gothic Victoriana.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm all over this game.
Yeah, all right, everybody, tell you what, get your comments in below. We will see you in the next one.
Take control of armies from the 5 kingdoms of Arcania and vie for the throne of the ancient king in Wrath of Kings. Master your skills on the battlefield over on beastofwar.com. Fame and fortune awaits in Blood and Plunder. Set sail in the golden age of piracy and claim the riches of the Caribbean at beastofwar.com.
I love the look of this game.
Yes.
It's just that pulp Victoriana that I love so much. And of course it's tile-based, so it gives us that dungeon crawling feeling. Pulp, Gothic, Victorian dungeon crawler. This is ticking all my boxes.
But you've also got the Lovecraftian effect where they're actually delving deeper into what's below London. That's
Another
a
box
really
tick.
nice touch.
Yeah, I would, if you're ever interested in I think I might have mentioned it in the interview, read London Under by Peter Ackroyd. It's a history of the London Underground. It's fascinating.
No, is this a fantasy history?
No,
or
that's a historical
real,
book. That's
a real.
book.
It's a historical book of the London Underground.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Actually, I've watched some documentaries and stuff on the London Underground. It actually is very, very interesting. The first tunnel underneath the Thames was actually dug by hand.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and
here's one.
The crazy thing was it was dug by hand, but to dig it, they had this big cage thing that would just slowly inch forward as guys just worked the face.
And the cage was to protect them from the tunnel falling in on them, or something.
Yeah, and then as they moved forward like 6 inches, the next row of bricks went in, and then they would dig out the next 6 inches of soil.
Yeah,
really slow and painstaking.
Ben, if you whip out a history of trucking book now, I am seriously going to go mad. Right. In other Kickstarters, so we have a few Kickstarters to update you on now. So there's a Kickstarter launching this Tuesday the 13th.
Yep.
And that's Blackwater Gulch. It's a new Kickstarter for Blackwater Gulch by Gangfight Games Studio. We have some bits and pieces in to have a look at that, don't we? So
they recently released the second edition of Blackwater Gulch.
Yeah.
Here it is now in all its
very
loveliness.
pretty artwork.
So this game actually went through Kickstarter a little while ago, didn't it? So I'll open this up. So it's, in a nutshell, Blackwater Gulch is it's a western town. There's some ley lines, and it's cowboys meets monsters.
This used to be one of those gold rush towns.
Yeah.
And as happens, they dug too deep.
I love it when you dig too deep, man. I love it when you dig too deep. Yeah. We have some of the monsters,
we
don't we?
have a lot of the stuff. They sent us through
Grab the lot.
a ton.
Yeah.
Here's the Jersey Devil there for you.
Okay, so let me try and show you some of these while we're at it. So, Jersey Devil.
Now they are all metal miniatures, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Good. Well, no, actually.
Oh
no. So resin.
Yeah. What is with its head?
It's a horse head.
Yeah, the
That's
Jersey
creepy.
Devil. Have you never heard of him?
The Jersey Devil has the head of a horse and the body of a man. I don't know if you need your clippers. Hang on a second.
I don't.
You might need your clippers.
No, he's fuzzy enough to not.
He's fuzzy enough.
Here's another monster
The detail on this is actually really nice. I mean, lots of vein detail on the wings and stuff. Nice scenic base.
What
Very
about the
cool.
dong?
There is no dong.
Oh, that's okay. It's dongless. That's okay.
Well, it's mercifully not horse dong.
Because otherwise we would have to confiscate this because your beautiful miniature would be suffering at the hands of Justin and his clippers. What else have we got?
Doing the great castration in miniature. But these are some of the starter sets we've got.
So this is the Outlaws.
The Tranquility Crew.
Now, these guys are in metal.
Yeah. You might recognize the Tranquility Crew if you are a fan of science fiction TV shows that only run for 12 episodes before they get cancelled, whatever they might be.
Yeah. It looks a bit like Firefly, doesn't it?
Someone's trying to be subtle.
Next up, we have the Beast Starter Pack. Oh, there he is! Sorry, I've cut to the wrong beast. There we go. This is the Beast Starter Pack. So, no, there's an interesting thing about the beasts, okay? So the beasts are lycanthropes that don't actually change. They remain in their animalistic man-animal style.
They're not just lycanthropes, though. They're depending on your internal nature, apparently, you can change into almost any animal. If you look on that one, there's a bear, a wildcat, a bat.
Yeah.
So if you like your anthropomorphized animals, this is for you.
So you could be bitten by the bat guy, but that doesn't mean that you'll turn into a bat guy.
I think so.
Oh, you would turn into a bat guy?
No, I think...
you'll turn into whatever your animalistic nature is.
All right, here's one for the community. If each of us was bitten, what would each of us turn into?
Mole, rat, pig.
What about that?
Badger.
As I grew up with animals of farthing wood, that means that Ben and I are best friends now, and I'm the most annoying character.
Wait a minute,
ever.
that makes me the villain.
No. that makes you the guy that goes and gets me the parts to save the little spider that I'm best friends with. Right, next up we have the Lawmen Starter Pack. These guys are the unsung. And what's kind of cool about these guys, we'll get you photographs of these up, guys, so you can see them just a little bit clearer, is that there's both male and females within this within this gang. And
Same in the Tranquility
like this.
crew.
Yeah. Then you have the Cursed Starter Pack.
Yeah, this is the faction that's all full of demons and undead and Wendigo and all that good
this
stuff.
one, yeah. And then you have some of the single characters.
We have some very cool ones. First, I'll let you see these. We have Mr. Creeper and Nina Blackman.
Now, me and Justin are agreed in this.
I like
we
Mr.
both
Creeper.
like Mr. Creeper, don't we, Justin?
Yeah.
So,
and for anyone who's eagle-eyed enough out there, if you remember Jeepers Creepers the movie, that's the monster-ish from it. So, what was the song? Jeepers Creepers.
Jeepers Creepers.
we then
How'd
have
you get those people?
There you go.
the Bell Witch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fabulous looking mini right there. That is a really cool mini. And then
our personal favourite.
Yeah, the absolute personal favourite, Ashton Campbell. Give me some sugar, baby. Give me some sugar.
Hail to the king.
This is my boomstick.
I still have not seen The Evil Dead, apart from Army of Darkness.
We're going to fix that.
Yeah.
I have threatened to fix that. Now that Sam is in with us full time, we are definitely going to fix that. There is
Are you
going
gonna
to be
make
a
him watch the
spare
originals?
hour and a half where we can sit him down. You know, to quote another favorite quote of mine, you better be wearing your pants because you're going to your pants.
I believe remember that from the Evil Dead.
Yeah. Right. We also have a mini from the Kickstarter that is just about to launch as well.
This one is an entirely miniatures focused Kickstarter.
Oh, wrong camera. There we go.
This one is an entirely miniatures focused Kickstarter, and here is one, the first physical one Gangfire have made. It's Tunker the Werebison.
The Werebison. I'm into a bit of Werebison.
You see, this, Warren, I would be tempted to say is what you would turn into.
A Werebison?
I think you would turn into a Werebison.
I like that, Justin.
I think
you're being really nice to me, man.
What?
I thought you were going to turn into a pot plant.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say just turn into a wereslug.
So, a multi-piece resin mini. There we go. So this is its components.
This is Tunker
here.
here.
Yeah.
And is it all plug-in socket joints?
Yeah, all plug-in socket joints.
Here's one John made earlier.
Yeah. So
thanks, John.
Lovely piece of sculpting right there. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So, if you're interested in seeing where the Western monsters lead us,
there is one more thing we need to show off for this.
Okay.
Because Gangfire have told me that for anyone who chips in on the first day of the Kickstarter, they will get a free copy of The Tool Man. And we have pictures of that painted up by Angel Heraldez here.
Ooh. That's a Slender Man, isn't it? Oh, look at that!
He was originally called the Slender Man, but I believe they changed his name because people kept going, oh, he doesn't look like the Slender Man.
He has a Slender Man look to him.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
He looks nothing like the child catcher from Chitty Bang Bang.
Look at that nose.
Eventually. Oh, he's terrifying.
I
love
that's
that.
Awesome.
They're also
very creepy.
We've also seen concept art for Black-Eyed Kids, and if you've ever heard of Black-Eyed Kid encounters,
yes,
they are creepy.
They are creepy. They are creepy. So it is the best of Monsterville brought into your Western gold mining town that really didn't need that kind of but now have it in spades.
I don't know. I think if you get this on the tabletop, the horror element of this totally necessary.
Okay, moving on. Another Kickstarter. That's it's up and running at the moment.
Yes.
This is Rambo. Now, if you were watching, stay tuned on beastofwar.com. We had a let's play of this go up. It was a lot of fun. But we have an opportunity. The guys out in Chicago, the Beast of War Chicago studio. I still love the sound of that. But they got the chance to sit down with the creators, Chris. So Don and Chris have a little bit of a chat about Rambo the Kickstarter.
Hey everybody, we've got a treat for you today. I have Chris Batarlis from Everything Epic Games here with us in studio. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Oh, we're super excited, and we're going to talk about Rambo, the board game.
Oh, yeah.
So on Kickstarter right now, going really well, funded.
Yep.
So tell us how the campaign's moving so far.
I think it's going great. I mean, people are really, really excited about it. They're talking all about their favorite Rambo memories. We have some amazing, amazing fans that just love Rambo and have just really great aspirations for the game. They're focused not just on the theme itself, but they're also talking a lot about the mechanics, which is really refreshing, and I'm really excited about that too. So it's just wonderful to meet so many like-minded individuals who really love something that you really like too.
For sure. So you nailed the next question for me just perfectly. So there are some interesting, cool mechanics in this game that I would say kind of make it different from some of the other games on the market. So tell us a little bit about how this game plays and what some of those key factors are.
Yeah, we were really trying to do something unique and different with this game, not just another dice chucker miniatures game. I mean, I love board games. I love dice chuckers. I love dice. Big Trouble in Little China, the game, that's going to have a lot of dice. So we wanted to do something that's a little bit different, that's a lot more tactical, a lot more cooperative, where we put that control in the player's hands. We go ahead and we say, you get to make all the decisions and figure out what the best plays will be. So in Rambo, the board game, you take basically gear cards and tactics cards. You build up momentum, and you will use that momentum as kind of a your ammunition. Thematically, it could be explosives. It could be your will to live. So there's survival momentum, ammunition momentum, that kind of thing. And you use that momentum in conjunction with your gear and your tactics to power it up. And instead of rolling dice when you attack, you basically do the damage that's on your weapon. However, you can then, of course, tactically choose when you want it to do more, when you want to kind of give it that kicker to do more special damage or more special abilities by using momentum or tactics cards. So really, you will be exploring the board with this fog of war, and you will be trying to overcome the enemies and take care of different objectives. And you're doing all of that very tactically and strategically by making your own loadout, what kind of gear you want your character to have, which can change every game, and basically taking that deep into the jungles of Vietnam or potentially into the mountains of Afghanistan or maybe small town USA, and taking it basically to the enemy and being Rambo and being those amazing Green Berets, really getting down into the trenches or sneaking around or maybe going all out assault and just shooting and blowing things up. That's your style.
There you go. That's 80s action hero right there. That's what that is.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about the auto damage. We've had a lot of conversations with folks about this. Some people think it's a really cool thing. Some people are just not sure how that works. How does that play into the way the game plays?
So in Rambo, the board game, you will be basically doing damage automatically. I know that sounds crazy, but the thing that is a little bit random is you're not quite sure where the enemies will spawn because of the fog of war. So basically, this auto damage is kind of representing that you are the best of the best, the elite of the elite soldiers. Rambo, when he shoots at something, he doesn't miss. Rambo and his people, they always hit. So you always deal a specific amount of damage according to the weapon and the gear that you're using. Of course, you can change that and you can make it bigger or do different things with your weapons according to how you decide to use your momentum and your tactics, and potentially coordinating with the other players. But this automatic damage basically represents that elite character that you're playing. And when you decide to shoot at something, you hit it. So the enemies also deal damage automatically to the player if they are within range, if they are not hidden by stealth anymore. So stealth is a big factor in that. Again, this automatic damage is a representation of you being in control as the player. We want to put how you want to do the mission in your hands. Rolling dice and missing and potentially, critically failing a mission just because of a random element of flipping over a random card or just rolling a 1 on your d20, or conversely, completely destroying a mission in almost an imbalanced way by just getting perfect rolls. And in some games, that can happen. I just rolled really well and I won this time. I mean, sometimes that's fun. And there's a lot of games out there, tons, that already do that. So we wanted to kind of take it into a little bit of a different direction. Something more like what you see in Gloomhaven, in certain card games, more like maybe even the Arkham Horror card game. You wouldn't think you would see a random, type of mechanic. You'd think you would expect Rambo to be chucking tons of dice.
Right.
You wouldn't think I would compare a Rambo board game with miniatures to something like Gloomhaven or to something like Arkham Horror, the card game. But in fact, you get that here, and you get that big time cooperative discussion going on. What should we do next? How should we attack this next section? How do we best use all of our skills and abilities to their most optimal way so that we can win the mission together? And I think it causes some really great discussions and some really great tactics to go on. And it gives you the ability to really want to play the missions differently, because as soon as you change a gear pack or you pick different tactics cards, you're going to play differently. And again, you're going to really get the control in the game to that player.
I can tell you from the cooperative nature of the game, when we played it, getting ready to do our playthrough, we played it 3 times. It was different every time we played it, and we were playing exactly the same scenario because we were just doing the demo scenario, but the conversation was so cool. And I think from how we experienced the game, the fact that the enemies activate each time randomly in between each player's action really made this game feel different than some of the other games out there, because all of your cooperative conversations and your best laid plans can just go to absolute crap in the flip of a card in between each person taking their turn. So you can try your best. And like you said, that is where the kind of luck component comes to it, because you're not chucking the dice, but you may flip a card that activates all of the enemies on the board at the time. You may flip one that activates only things that aren't on the board at the time, and phew, then you're good, and you can continue on your way, and your plan comes together. But pretty cool, very different for sure.
Yeah, that threat deck that activates the enemies is really that random element that keeps that thrill and the unknown factor really on a high level. It makes the game quickly and easily scale for different numbers of players, because you're basically drawing 1 per player per turn. So that's one of the ways that you get to scale the game really well in that way. But again, rather than putting it on just a simple die roll for Rambo shooting his M60, where you get the disappointment of potentially completely failing your roll, you plan, do we need to take out this particular enemy right now? Because potentially, maybe we've seen certain amount of enemies already activate, and we need to make sure we get past that particular enemy, or that enemy is a little bit stronger. We got to get rid of him because if he hits us, it's going to hurt. And how do we do that? Do we do that with stealth? Do we try to sneak up on him and knife him? Or do we maybe set up a trap and try to lure him in and hope that he's going to actually spawn or that he's going to trigger with the threat cards? So these types of things we can plan into that. And these threat cards not only just activate enemies, but they also add cool little thematic factors like mud or specific different environmental things. And again, these decks, the threat deck is created for each scenario, and it'll sometimes use some of the similar cards, and you put them together and you kind of recreate the deck for each scenario. So it kind of changes up every time you play a different scenario. Kind of like how when you play Set the Fog of War cards, they're a little bit different, and they have a little bit of an effect on them as well. So again, the unpredictability, that thrill aspect is kind of in the threat. It's in the Fog of War. And the planning and the strategy and the tactics are all for the players to really be able to control. Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So tell us a little bit about the different characters that you can play in the game. Clearly there's Rambo. So let's start with him. And so they each have a little bit of a different play style to them, right?
Yes. Yes, they do. There are going to be quite a few characters in the actual game that we're creating for the core game and the expansions. Of course, we have some stretch goals that are unlocking. There's some Kickstarter exclusive ones. So, everybody loves Rambo. And that's why, you might be interested in getting the game. So, of course, we have multiple different types of Rambos. And each Rambo, believe it or not, will have different specialties. So, Rambo 1 may be really good at potentially setting up traps and surviving, and may have some upgrades with using just his knife. Mm-hmm. Whereas Rambo 2 may be maybe a little bit more in the middle, where you can do some traps, but also use the M60 very effectively in the course of battle. And then you'll see other characters like Colonel Troutman, who, we know Rambo is big at assault. He's great at stealth too, but he's kind of like all around. Whereas Colonel Troutman is really good at potentially inspiring the players and helping with planning and helping with little strategic moves that you can make where you can move momentum around and kind of play with the resources of the game, which are the momentum. And then you have Ko, who is really kind of cool at doing stealthy maneuvers and being quieter. But again, she's a little bit quicker, so she can kind of move around and kind of get up into the enemy with like SMGs and that kind of thing quickly. But again, by changing the loadout and changing the gear, even though each hero has some specialties on their card for their special abilities, you can fully customize that type of character by changing the gear and changing the tactics every game. Awut is a sniper, for instance, and
now say his last name, not just the first name, because help a girl out. That was what I struggled with.
Awut Siwaranyu.
There you go. That
it's weapon. It means weapon. He's actually a sniper, and the way each hero works is that they have stances on them, and every round you choose a stance together as a group. Each player chooses a stance, but you discuss it before you even begin the round. This, again, is part of the tactical aspect of the game and helps the cooperative discussions. Each hero has different abilities that they get when they do a stance. They'll get different momentum. They'll have different amounts of movement. They may get different amounts of actions depending on the stance they do. So Rambo, with his running stance, may move faster than other players, but may make a little bit more noise and things like that. Whereas Awut, since he's a sniper, he gets more actions potentially when he's prone because he wants to use his sniper rifle when he's laying down prone. He's better at that. So they kind of complement different play styles, but you may like a specific character and then you may want to try them with completely different gear and tactics, which again, completely refreshes how they feel when you play them.
Very cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and you could really tell the difference between the characters and the way they played. I am not the biggest risk taker, so being the sniper was good for me because I felt both useful and didn't feel compelled to try to like race up into harm's way, in it. Gianna, of course, had to go full Rambo, and so what are you gonna do, right? You gotta get that 80s action hero and just go for it sometimes. So. That's right. So we said, for the Kickstarter. So tell us a little bit about what the core game is going to have in it. And then I know there's expansions in the works already. So what are those going to look like?
So on the Kickstarter right now, we're offering basically 3 expansions. The core game and a couple expansions. So the core game is based mostly on the universe of Rambo 2. So even though we're saying it's Rambo 2, that doesn't mean it's an exact on-rails story of exactly 100% of what was in the film. It's within the scope and the universe of the film. So there may be some missions that are very similar to Rambo 2 and what happened in the film, but then we will go do things that are maybe off-scene or additional missions that were in that world. So the core game is basically Vietnam, Rambo 2, kind of what you know from Rambo, going on those really great kind of Green Beret special ops missions with Troutman and all those characters. And then, of course, we had to do First Blood. First Blood, as an expansion, is very special because what it does is it basically allows the players to play fully solo as Rambo against the sheriff's department from the movie. So basically to play out what it was like as Rambo in the film. The whole scene of being in the woods and setting the traps for the police officers. But the other cool twist is we add in a PvP version where one player gets to play Rambo and the other players get to play the sheriff's department.
That's
play the
pretty
cops.
cool.
And so you kind of get that cool, potentially 1 versus 4, where it's Rambo versus the cops, and you get to kind of play that out and live it out and have different outcomes of what could have happened. And you could also play the police officers versus Rambo, and Rambo is AI. So you'll be able to kind of really just live that film and have fun with that. And then for the Blood in the Desert expansion, we are basically doing Rambo 3 and kind of taking, I know Rambo 3 may not be everybody's #1 favorite film. However, there are a lot of cool missions that we have put into that box, into that film, basically that universe of being able to go into the mountains, into cool caves, fight different Soviet bases. So, you'll be able to go on all these different adventures, meet different characters, different versions of Rambo. You got the Rambo 3 character, you got different Troutman, and that kind of thing in there. And it's almost like a full additional core game worth of content. So you get a lot more missions. So each box has things called operation packs. Each operation pack is basically like a mini campaign that could be anywhere between 1 really big mission up to maybe 5 missions that are connected by story. And basically the core game will have about 5 operations, whereas, First Blood will have like 3 or 4 operations, and then the Blood in the Desert big box will also have like another 5 operations. And the Kickstarter is adding stretch goals and bonuses and stuff to that too. So there's a lot of missions in the game, and basically, again, you can play them over and over. And of course, in the Kickstarter, we have a bunch of cool stretch goals too. We just unlocked another M60 version of Rambo, where he's kind of, assault shooting the big guns. So we're also hoping to get further enough so we can do the chopper and the tank. So we want to get those
that would be
really
pretty awesome.
Helicopters and tanks in too.
That would be pretty awesome. Well, by the time this airs, there's still going to be time left in the Kickstarter. So if you are a fan of Rambo, your 80s action heroes, you definitely want to hop on over to Kickstarter and have a look at this game. It has been a blast talking to you, Chris. We really enjoyed playing the game, especially after talking to you. You've already ticked a couple of things that I don't think we particularly considered, like from addressing the enemies on the board more strategically in terms of who do you need to pick out first. It felt really hard not to want to just have to go for who's closest and just start taking care of people. And when you said that, it was like, holy crap, that's probably right where we went really wrong while we were playing. So lots of cool tactical stuff.
Strategic element. You'll learn and you'll kind of be able to get better, and you'll figure out ways of strategizing the missions better. And then you could play them on potentially higher difficulties, and it'll get even more tactical. These enemies, they have multiple difficulties on them, and they have their own AI. So each enemy will move and react differently depending on the mission. So even though it may use a similar miniature or standee, you will basically get a full different AI for each enemy in each operation pack or in each mission. You'll get different enemies. So it really will change the gameplay a lot. So, again, the more you play it, it'll still stay unpredictable because of those couple little random elements, but you will just get better and better at finding ways to exploit the enemy. And that's how it should feel, because you're the elite of the elite. You're the Green Beret. You're Rambo and his friends, his squad. So you guys should have the major advantage. So the more you play, the more Rambo you become.
Oh, that was the best sentence right there, I think, Chris. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Best of luck with the rest of the Kickstarter. I think probably the next time we see you, it will be at Gen Con. So I can't wait to get a great update on it and see where we've gone with the game and what's coming next from you guys. So we will talk to you guys again soon. What do you think, guys? It's time to hop into Rambo. If you haven't already, hop over to Kickstarter and take a look.
Humanity has been driven from Earth, but now it's time to take it back. Join the Reconquest and fight the Scourge on the Drop Zone Commander Hub at beastsofwar.com. Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com.
While you were watching that, we discovered something else. We need another hour and a half or two because Sam has never seen the other Rambo movies other than First Blood.
Yeah, I've only
First
seen
Blood
the first
is
one.
pretty much the good lead into it.
First Blood's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
First Blood's amazing. But you haven't seen Rambo 2,
No.
Rambo 3,
No.
or Rambo 4.
No.
Oh, you mean John Rambo?
Is there a Rambo 5 as well?
I think one of them is just called John Rambo.
The last Rambo was really, really dark. Like, I mean,
Right, I actually haven't seen that one. Sorry.
we gotta get some Rambos on in here.
On the subject, I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies past the first one.
Dude!
Really?
You've never seen Sylvester Stallone fight Mr. T?
No.
I weep for the future generation.
Oh, right, we have our work cut out of us. Stay tuned for a new series called Beasts of War Make Sam Watch Movies, and it'll be a reaction series where we basically are just going to try and scare the crap out of our new little friend, and it'll be great. It'll be great. Oh, I don't know. Right. Final Kickstarter for this week, then we're going to get into some prizes. This is Lightning and Bolt. Only 3 days left on this. Ben, what can you tell us about it?
Okay, so this is by a guy called David Somerville, and he designed this game so that he could play it with his daughter. And the whole point behind this is that it's an asymmetrical cooperative game on the tabletop. So one of you will play as Lightning, who is the sort of superhero kid, whose mechanics are fast, simple, and easy to learn. And then the other player will play as Bolt, who is her large robotic companion. He has slightly more complex rules, and a lot of his stuff is built around sort of timing and combo stuff at the same time. This means that one of you, so probably the kid, will play as Lightning, and then the parent will play as Bolt. And then what you'll do is you'll have these tiles set out in front of you, and you've got to move around the tiles, rescuing neighbors, defeating the robots, and then working together, importantly, in order to take over the evil mastermind at the very, very end. Now, interestingly, as I said, this is asymmetrical, so obviously both the different characters have very, very different rule sets, but they all rely on each other in order to succeed. So once Lightning has expended herself too much, she needs Bolt to come along and rescue her, and the same thing with Bolt. If he ever gets too heavy and hot from all his sort of action working and stuff with his robotics, then Lightning needs to come over and save him at the same time. So it's been specifically made so that two of you can get stuck in and play this together as a parent and a kid at the same time. And as I say, it looks absolutely amazing as well. The artwork is brilliant for this, and interestingly, when you're looking through the Kickstarter project, it turns out originally this was never going to be an actual game that was ever taken to Kickstarter or even going to be available in retail or anything. It was kind of basically something that he'd done just to play with his daughter, his younger daughter. But a bunch of artists came over and were like, man, this is an amazing concept. We need to take this to the internet. And so that's how it was born. But yeah, I'm really liking the look of this. The asymmetrical nature is fascinating to see. Cooperative is also very good. And anything that gets younger gamers stuck into our tabletop world as well is also very welcome indeed.
Yeah, so. I couldn't agree more. As many of you know, because I talk about it in Backstage from time to time, I love designing games for myself and my children to play. And I was play testing a thing with Andrea recently, and we were looking at it. As I was play testing it out, it's a kind of a story-driven game. I was saying to Andrea, Andrea, I'm thinking of scrapping 90% of the rules of this, because I think the kids will just enjoy playing this so much. But what we came up with was this very idea, and it was Andrea that pitched me in this direction. She says, no, keep the rules as they are, but is there any way that you could create a game where they have simple rules and we still play with the more complicated rules? Because if it gets too simple, we're not going to have fun playing it, and then we will stop playing it with the kids, because as much as you want to do stuff for children, it still has to be fun for the adults. Yeah. So I am absolutely 100% behind this guy. This is by David Somerville. And David, I am so with you on this, and I think I'm looking forward to seeing more and more of this make its way into the industry, where there is almost like a dual track system, whereas adults, we have more scope, more depth, The kids have something a lot more simple, but it's the synergies between the two and the timing and stuff like that that really makes it click.
I do want to say as well, just quickly on this Kickstarter, that this was part of what's called like a Make 100 initiative or a Make 100 scheme. So there were actually only 100 of the actual physical copies of the game available, but there is still print and play options. So if you're interested in getting this, you can come in at a lower level and you can get your hands on the print and play version. However, they have said that because it's been so successful, there is a chance for them to come back to Kickstarter in the future with a new version of the Kickstarter showing off some more stuff. So even if you did miss out on a proper physical version, you can still play the print and play. And of course, there's good news for the future. Also, importantly, the main character in the game is a little girl, but they did include an option for to be a little boy token and a standee as well, so there's no problems there for you whatever you're doing with the game as well.
Great stuff.
Also, looking there, it looks as if they've actually unlocked a 3-player mode from stretch goals, which is good as well. So
that is very interesting. Great stuff. One to watch out for. Right, competition winners. Okay. So last week we were showing the Mighty Mythos, a beautiful boutique game that takes place in the madness of a Lovecraftian world of tentacleness and
insanity.
Giant crabs in it. It is great.
That's you sold on anything, isn't it?
As soon as there's a giant enemy crab, I am in, all in. And Click Clack just happens to be one of my favorites. But we challenged you guys to come up with a horror haiku. Have you noticed that Beasts of War competitions have been getting a lot more
cerebral?
The cerebral these days? What a perfect word. You are on fire.
Always.
That's good because you're going to be put to the test in about 4 minutes.
Oh no, I forgot. I forgot. Oh God, this is going to be horrible.
Okay, so it's all right. So you were challenged to create a horror haiku. To recap, a haiku is a style of Japanese poetry. It's based on a syllable count of 5 syllables, followed by 7 syllables, followed by 5 syllables. It is a beautiful mechanic for the expression of poetry. It was kind of funny because one of the guys on YouTube said to me, you do realize that a proper haiku should have reference to a season in it. I did an ad hoc haiku last week, and I said to him, yes, you're right, but my haiku wasn't the best in the world. It was just a tribute. Right. So we have a couple of winners. So winner 1 is Jamjar St. What are they going to win, by the way? They're going to win basically like a 2-player starter bundle, aren't they?
Bundle. So whenever you're putting your prize claim in, say which 2 factions you want, and you're also getting 2 rulebooks with that.
2 rulebooks, 2 factions.
Yeah, and there's 2 people winning that.
Okay. So Jamjar, you are our first winner. Yep. Can I see his haiku?
There you go.
I forgot before madness came to claim my mind, the creeping mindless. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it. And then our next winner is Booty. I do remember sometimes. So Booty, let's see his haiku. Right, his try. He charges the field, not knowing what he's seeing, drowning in phantasm.
What was the other one he wrote as a tribute to Tyler Durden?
The tribute is, worker bees can leave, even drones can fly away. The queen is their slave. I love haiku.
I think that was even creepier.
Oh, we have to come back to these this haiku thing again.
We'll have to do limericks at some point.
But the most important thing that actually happened in last week's show is that Justin was given an entire week to think of a haiku. Justin, how did you do? You might want to go and make a cup of tea.
Let me see.
Do you see the colour that face is going?
Okay. I play all the games.
I play all the games.
Right.
Okay, we're good.
I learn them.
I learn them.
I play them all.
I play them all. Okay. It's very repetitive, this one. Okay.
I can still never win.
I can still never. It's all right, Justin.
I still can't win.
I still can't win. This is
I can never win.
Okay.
I had a dream about this.
Oh God!
I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you off because I've been so looking forward to this. I actually dreamt we were on the Weekender, and when he started repeating himself in that haiku, it brought it back to me because I was convinced that he was going to go. I've got the perfect poem, the perfect haiku for you, and it's even related to the game. Crabs! 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 Crabs!
Wasn't that an entry?
Crabs! 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 Oh. It was that or boom! 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 So to be fair to you, Justin, it had similarities to what I was expecting from you, but it was a little bit better. But you still didn't complete it. So I
took a swing.
Will we give him another week?
No. I was expecting him to just read out the one Caesar made for him on the.
Yeah, I should have done. That is actually now my Facebook profile picture.
Right.
Me doing Zen mode.
Okay. Let's get this week's competition underway. So we are giving away the Khador Conquest Victor. So this is it here. Can I open the box?
Yeah, so this is a dual kit. It'll make the Conquest or the Victor, full plastic, everything you need to build it is in there.
Word! Look at those parts!
If you're clever, you can magnetize this to do both kits.
Yeah.
And in-game, they are absolutely monstrous. Myself and John unboxed one of these a while back. A fantastic kit. According to John, goes together like an absolute dream. The Privateer hard plastics are fantastic.
Yeah, and there you go, guys. There's the picture of it. What a beast. Whether you're a War Machine player or not, you want this model for your painting table.
Yeah.
Absolute beast. Right, how are they going to win it? What cerebral challenge do we have for them this week?
Ooh.
Well, we're in a steampunk world.
Yeah. So how about the weirdest steampunk invention?
Now, can that be anything? So, weapons, something to make life easier,
Yes.
vehicles, things like that?
Absolutely anything. And it has to be the most convoluted and crazy thing you can think of.
Yeah. Okay. I can't talk about what I'm thinking because my Warren mind did the absolute usual, as you would expect. I went somewhere, but you really don't want to know. So,
does it have a vibrating function?
Pumping, vibrating, yeah, it has it all. It's spinning and
See, I just thought of one for Sam.
Pumping in the coal. Yep, it's
steam-powered sugar lump launcher.
A sugar lump.
Why a sugar lump launcher?
Because it can just sit in the corner of the room, fire out a sugar lump, and it just plops into your teeth.
Do you take sugar lumps?
No, I don't.
Well, then it's pointless for Sam. Absolutely pointless. Right, haiku boy. Right, so
I take my tea the way God intended.
To be in with a chance of winning this, you have to put into the comments on beastsofwar.com.
Yep.
Come across to beastsofwar.com, create a free account, put in the comments there your weirdest steampunk invention. From all the entries, we will be picking a winner at random, and you will win yourself that fantastic kit. Right, tomorrow we have XLBS, which is the extra long backstage show. You may or may not be aware that Beasts of War relies on the contributions of our backstagers to be able to keep things going. All of this content that you watch on the front stage, if you watch this Weekender, week in, week out, it's only possible because of our backstagers. We absolutely rely on the contributions from backstagers to be able to make the content that we do. But as a backstager, you get access to a lot of extra content. So you get to see the projects that we're working on behind the scenes, and we do a whole additional Weekender, brand new Weekender on a Sunday, which is a bit more chillaxed, a little bit more interesting in some ways, and it's a good crack. It is good crack. You might want to join us.
Also, backstagers get the first bite at any tickets for any events we run throughout the year.
That's true. There's a lot of benefits to being a backstager, but the biggest benefit is you keep the community alive, you keep the content flowing, and you get great gamer karma points for that.
And you fund our new uncomfortable chairs.
Yes. Join us tomorrow, guys. Look, thank you to Justin. Thank you to Sam. Big thank you to Ben. For you backstagers, we'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. And we have some fun stuff for you. Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And be sure to check out beastofwar.com for the latest gaming news and gaming Let's Plays. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.